Hello.
Hello, Vinita ma'am.
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, there are already 9 participants here, ma'am.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So
Uh,
I can see the first slide.
yes. If you share
Oh,
your video, that will also come.
oh, right.
Okay.
One sec. Turn video. Okay. Am I visible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Perfect.
Ma'am, of the videos that we had intended, I'm
Uh-huh.
only paying the one from the ICJ because I can only upload one video at a time
Okay,
on
done.
this webinar join.
Done. That'll get the point
Okay.
across that it's quite formal.
Yes.
Do we need to
We'll just wait
figure the
for. I've already
done the
got
poll?
the. So if you I've got the poll. We can publish it moment you tell me to, or
Okay.
as we had discussed, right? And for the
Okay.
second poll, I'll need the time because I'll need to rejig it.
Okay. I'm wondering why the audio's 1 second. Huh? I think
There's an echo.
no, I've plugged it in, but I'm wondering why it's not. You can hear me only through. Yeah. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Yeah, now that's better. Okay.
Okay.
So are we keeping the slide up or put the
I'll
slide up
remove
later?
the slide for now.
I think
Yes.
so, right? Let them just look at us first and then we can put the slide on,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. I don't see you.
Okay. Yes, I haven't yet switched on my video. I
Okay,
cheated.
okay.
Here I am.
There. Okay. All of us looking
Ma'am,
like,
can you
hmm,
just one hand distance from the screen?
okay,
Right.
done.
Just, yeah, that way your forehead doesn't get cut.
You are a pro.
No, this I learned from the LSAT webinar. That they told me your
Ah,
ears need to be seen, your forehead needs to be seen. So
okay,
learn
done.
as we go.
Done. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see who's here. Uh, we have with us Nikita, Anubhav, Rimpi, Hari, Somesh, and
Oh,
Shelja Reddy.
shall I put my chat on? I can, right? Huh.
Yes, yes. You see the little 3 red dots?
I see
Um,
no dots. I only see, I've clicked on chat, but I'm not
okay.
seeing.
There is no chat going on, but you can see the
Huh.
names in the attendees. Hi, everybody.
Um,
We are just waiting for the others to join. So you should be seeing settings, attendees,
right.
chat,
I
poll.
saw that. Yes, 9
Yes.
out of 112 registered.
Yes. Yes.
I don't see names though. Okay, there. I think it's updating the attendees.
You just have to click on that so that it attends.
Right. Of course. Yes, I see Sanjana. I see Nikita, Anubhav. Hi, everybody.
I don't see Sanjana.
I
Maybe
see
I should refresh.
Bandam, Sanjana, Nikita, Anubhav, Rimpi,
Okay.
Raja.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Guys, can you all hear us? Okay. Probably they've got their audio off.
Hmm.
You're done with your classes?
For the day, yes. Tomorrow
Okay.
is another day.
So we're back at work from
I think the
Monday.
hardest part of virtual teaching is. Are we?
Yeah, that's what we were told yesterday.
Okay. I don't think that information has come down to us. Okay, so they can hear us. Anubhav, Shiniji, and Nikita have indicated that they can hear us
Oh, why am I not seeing any
in the
chat?
chat.
Okay.
It's in the.
I can. Yeah.
Somebody else is speaking.
I'll just shut the bedroom door and come. These kids, we just warn them.
Yes.
Still have 10 minutes to go.
Yes. 7 actually. 6 now.
6.
We'll start on time.
Yeah.
14 people have joined now.
Mm-hmm.
Screen is frozen.
Yeah.
Anita ma'am?
Huh? Tell me.
Your screen is frozen. Your screen is frozen.
What do I do?
Your screen is frozen.
I know, but what do I do? Just
Yeah, I
click
think
it
it's
off
fine
and
now.
off. That's okay. Yeah.
No, I think just can you check your speed test? Like, can you just quickly run a speed test to
Oh dear.
see whether
I'll just tell these kids
your
to
web.
not use any videos. Yeah.
Hmm.
There are good classes going on in both rooms. That's the problem.
Oh boy.
Here and that one starting off. One's already in the middle of class. Class ends in 5 minutes, and the other one's just starting now.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I think it's okay, right? It's settled.
Yes,
Yeah,
now it's
settled.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll wear my specs too. Can't see. Better.
So, just one quick thing I wanted to ask you. Before we go into what we discussed earlier,
Mm-hmm.
we are doing the intro first, right?
The role play.
Before
And
the
then
role play, we do.
role
Okay.
play followed by intro.
Okay. There's some message in chat. Good afternoon, Yogesh. Pleasure to have you here.
I'm not.
Somebody has raised a hand.
Good afternoon.
Lakshmi, yes. Okay.
The weather is so strange. This
Hmm.
sun cannot decide whether it wants to stay in or come out.
You're better than the ones who are in places. I think
I, be-
Nagpur has 48
I
degrees.
believe it's really hot. Yeah, so we really shouldn't complain.
Hmm. Good afternoon, Soumya. Good afternoon, Sean.
Sean. I hope we've got your name right, Sean.
Good afternoon, Pallavi. Good afternoon, Shinji. Shinjini.
Shinjini.
We're just waiting for the others to join us. Good afternoon, Lakshmi Priya. Good afternoon, Bhargavi. We're doing good, ma'am. How are you?
I hope all of you all are at home and safe. Another 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Good to know, Sean. Thank you. Good to know that. Trying time these are.
Okay. Shh. Another minute.
Yes. Good afternoon, Somesh.
Guys, are we audible? Y'all can hear us, right?
Thank you, Bhargavi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Should we start? 3:30. Give it a
Yes, let's
minute.
start.
Okay.
Let's start.
Okay. So a very, very good afternoon to all of y'all. I hope all of y'all are doing well. Y'all are safe and indoors. So things are improving here in Bangalore. Life is kind of getting back to normal, but I believe it's not so in all other parts of the country. Do take all your precautions, wear your masks, keep washing your hands, and just, stay safe and stay at home. Okay, so we are about to begin today. So before I introduce myself and Stuti ma'am will introduce herself, I wanted to replay a little scenario. Okay, so just imagine that you're watching a scenario of a workplace. Okay, so there is a young intern and there is a partner. They both are with a law firm. So the young intern reports to this particular partner, and we are about to role play a conversation between the intern as well as the partner. So I'm going to be the partner and Stuti ma'am is going to be the manager. Okay. So the intern says, ma'am, I've just, completed going through the MOM of, the meeting that happened between Mr. A and Mrs. A yesterday, ma'am. So I really, I really think that we should go ahead with judicial separation, ma'am. Judicial separation and not divorce. I think judicial separation is an awesome idea. So I think that'll be cool, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you think?
What do you think? As in, why are you saying judicial separation versus divorce?
Ma'am, it's better, no, ma'am?
Why is it better?
Um, Ma'am, I've heard that it is good, ma'am. Correct?
You've heard rather than you have looked and found out? That doesn't work out. There needs to be a far more substantive answer than that.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I've heard this, so I'm just telling you. I feel this idea is a good idea, ma'am.
As
Uh,
an advocate, hearing something and then coming to a conclusion is not what we do. What do we do?
Ma'am, what is it that we do? I don't know, ma'am. Ma'am, you suggest, ma'am, what? Uh, really don't know, ma'am. What else to say?
So, this is pretty much reality. This has happened. And that is what we are trying to bring to your attention here. I think, Benita ma'am, now you can introduce yourself and
Right.
we can start.
So
Very good acting.
I hope you guys appreciated this little, role play that we did. So here was this intern who just didn't see. I mean, the intern was very clear in his mind about which the judicial separation is better than divorce, but he was not prepared. And like all juniors reporting to a partner, I mean, you have to really prove that you know things, and only then will the partner take you seriously, right? So it's all about preparation, guys. You cannot communicate without suitable preparation. So I think that's really what we wanted to show you. You've got to be prepared, and only then will you really be articulate, which is, what we are going to be talking about today. One part of articulation is preparation. Okay, so let me begin by giving you a very very short introduction about me. So my name is Professor Benita Vartak. I'm Benita. I work with IFIM institutions and I run the personality enhancement program. Okay, so our program is all about ensuring that you become articulate. We address communication skills, we address all the personality boosters that are required to really make you the articulate advocate. So just a short snapshot of my background. I've spent many years in the corporate world, 8 years in the advertising industry, where I was responsible for working with clients, looking after the needs of brands, learned a lot about how to handle customers and clients and how to handle stress, if not anything else. After that, I've spent 10 years as a corporate trainer, worked with many corporates, trained them on a whole bunch of soft skills, a lot of IT companies, and I've been with IFIM now for 4 years, and I head the personality enhancement program that, as I mentioned, would look after all your needs of sharpening your personality. Over to you, Stuti.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. And my name is Professor Stuti Desai Murcha. I teach law at IFIM Law School. Uh, I have had 7.5 years experience in the industry. And after that, I switched to teaching. I have over now 7.5 years of experience in teaching. Um, in my industry experience, I've had the opportunity to head teams of up to more than 200 people, and I've had the opportunity to interview and hire various fresh law graduates. So I do work with a lot of I find that a lot of law students do struggle with the idea of, developing these soft skills that are very pertinent for their development. And that is exactly what we are going to try and discuss here. Like, why do you need it? Why do you need to be articulate? How do you become articulate? And then sort of how does PEP help you get there? That is exactly what we're going to discuss here today. Over to
Right.
you, Benita ma'am.
Okay, so personality enhancement program, the common name for personality enhancement program is PEP. So I would be referring to our program as PEP, in the next couple of minutes. Okay, so let me go ahead and, share a couple of corporate experiences with you. And, Stuti ma'am will continue doing the same thing. As I did mention, for 10 years, I was teaching corporates. Okay, now, a lot of times I was asked to come in and to train a particular group. So the manager would give me a briefing and would explain the need for the program to me, and I would then customize the requirements of the program and then deliver. So a lot of times I have been told saying that, our clients in the US have complained that they would want XYZ, members to be removed from the team. And I would say why, and they would say that their communication skills is not up to the mark. And these would be technical people, more often than not, engineers. And the manager would say, but Ramesh is his technical skills are par excellence, and I cannot afford to have him off the team. I need him because nobody has that kind of expertise that he does, but he is not able to get his expertise across. And whether it's a conversation, a conference call, or whether it's an email, the client, the Americans find it really, really difficult to comprehend what Ramesh is saying. But I can't afford to lose Ramesh. So Benita, please do something, train them, and ensure that his communication skills are up to the mark. So this was a very, very common requirement that I was given. So corporates, do understand that the bread and butter job may be technical, but communication skills is an absolute must, especially because, everything involves not just communication, but it involves persuading, the client or the customer to probably, to say yes to a proposition or to a proposal, and that doesn't come easy. And for that, you really, really need, I would say, sharp communication skills. Another experience that I had was I was teaching Mindtree. I'm sure you've heard of Mindtree. It's a very, popular IT, a very, very large IT company. And I then realized that all these engineers, again, experts in their field, all had to do courses in communication skills. They had to clear the courses, and only if they cleared the courses would they then be allowed to move up the ladder. So, corporates really, really value what communication skills is, and that's the reason why a lot of us trainers always manage to get a whole lot of programs. So at IFIM, we are obviously associated with a whole lot of corporates. A lot of corporates come to recruit, and we have very close associations with all of them. And I have had the privilege of being the mentor for a company called Oracle, which I'm sure a lot of you all have heard of. And when my mentees are working there, we have to go and sort of keep checking in on them. And the Oracle, the corporate people there, the managers there have told me, they've said that I find communication skills students are really, really good, and they shine above the other students. And we are so happy to have the students here working for us, because they they have the respect of not just their managers but of their clients. So at IFIM, and we will be talking about what we do at IFIM to boost up your communication skills. But obviously something that we are doing here is working, and we have a lot of clients, recruiters who appreciate communication skills that we do at our institute. Okay, and I'm sure the law world is also full of these stories of the requirement of communication skills, and I would request Stuti to share a few of her stories.
Well, one of the feedback we receive mostly from law firms or corporates is that our students are academically ready, but there is an industry disconnect. And then when we try to understand what is this industry disconnect, we realize that they don't know how to present themselves. They don't know how to put forward their thoughts. They know the law, but how to express the law in a manner which convinces the person in front of them to listen to them. That is where law students struggle a lot. And developing that as a soft skill has become critical now, because there are over 16,000 law students graduating every year just from Karnataka. And you need something that sets you apart from the crowd. And that would be something where your articulation, the way you speak, the way you present yourself becomes very important. I remember as Vinita ma'am was talking about how she gets called into trainings, etc. I remember where I was also somebody who suffered because I didn't receive any soft skill training. Everything I had to learn the hard way. And one of the things that had happened, my first draft, when I gave it to my senior, he was so displeased. He was like, this, it does not make sense to me. The way you've written it, it doesn't make sense to me. Then first time he got very angry. Then I went back again. I said, can you please tell me where I'm making the mistakes? Then when he pointed out the mistakes, I realized I know English and I know law, but I never knew how to combine the two to communicate what I wish to say. And that is where PEP plays a very critical role, because I don't know how to present it in a manner, or I didn't know how to present it in a manner where it would be understood by the person who has to receive it. This critical skill is what PEP really helps you with here at IFIM Law School. Another thing that we generally notice, one of the interviews that I was taking, one of the child was stuttering, stammering, a lot of ums, a lot of ahs, and her academic marks were around in the region of 80s, 90s. And in law, 80s and 90s is a dream, right? You're a gold medalist. But she could not at any, and it was not stammering, it was more about the nervousness, the inability to communicate, and we couldn't hire her because a lot of times our main task is to face the client, be able to clearly explain to them what is their problem and how should they solve it. And if somebody is unable to explain themselves to us, it becomes difficult for us to translate that to somebody in front of the client. This is a very critical component. Communication is a very critical component of the lawyer. One of the things I keep telling in my law classes, words like scalpels are for doctors, and surgeons. Words are for lawyers. We need to use them precisely, concisely, and with incision. Benita ma'am, we'll do the
Right.
first MCQ.
Right. Okay.
So keeping that spirit in mind, we have a small poll. We want all of you to imagine yourself as managers and answer this for us, please.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. So, ma'am, have you seen any of these in your job? I have seen the first one. I want leave for 2 days. And I've definitely seen the third one. Therefore, said applicant is seeking your kind approval herewith for a period of 3 days. Thank you.
So, strangely enough, Stuti, requests like this is what students write, when they enter the corporate world. And, a lot of times we get, the feedback, or we get, a copy of an email that probably, a corporate would have sent our HR, we have a separate office that looks after placements and looks after the recruiters. And we are told, we are said that this is not the way writing should happen. And that's the reason why we do a lot of writing skills at IFIM, to ensure that we don't write like this. Stuti, just like how you had that experience, I mean, I think as a youngster, same thing. I mean, we never had soft skills, right, in our colleges. And like you, I also had those struggles. I remember, walking up to one corporate. I used to work with Lakme for a really long time. And I went up there and I said that, in this particular campaign, we want to replace this model. And the client just looked at me very dismissively. Here's this junior, what is she saying? And that's it. I just said one line. I think we should change the model from so and so to so and so. and and in a very nervous way. And again, like Stuti, I come from a background where we speak English all the time, no problem with fluency. But at that point of time, I was nervous and absolutely not prepared. And the client just looked at me and said, "But why? And why do you want to change the model?" And I just didn't have an answer. I just didn't know what to say at that point of time. I froze only because I hadn't done my homework. And we he just changed the topic, and we just kind of moved on. So, like, and because we understand that communication skills is so important, we've also seen that at placements, the kind of importance that recruiters give to communication skills. So, in our management college and in law, they're very technically sound. They're finance students, they're marketing students. They really know their concepts. I mean, our law students, they know the law inside, outside. Okay. And so we've had situations where companies like Deloitte, I'm sure you've heard of Deloitte, a very, very famous multinational. They come to our campus to recruit tax consultants. So one would think that they would be, quizzing them and asking them about tax laws. And they do that. But they do that only after the students are put through a communication skills test. So the first test that they do is a test on English, on pronunciation, on diction, on fluency. Only if you clear that test do you then move into the interview. So
Oh, wow.
yes, so a lot of times, financially, profound students who've got these really high, CGPAs, as we say, uh, get rejected at that first stage itself. And somebody who's probably not got a brilliant nine CGPA or a 8 CGPA with a 7 CGPA, but smart, a smart person, presentable, fluent, confident, gets the job. So this is something that we've seen, over and over. And we've also seen sometimes that a simple spelling mistake on a resume, or an absence of a comma, can cost you the job at the very end. Finally, out of 70, 80 students, 8 or 10 students reached the interview. And one student got rejected simply because there was a small little mistake in his resume. So the recruiter said that, if I can't trust you with a resume, how can I then trust you to send an email where you barely get any time? Okay. So that's when, we do know writing is extremely important. And I think as lawyers, it's really your, I would say, right hand and left hand. So a lot of focus is given onto written skills. So any experiences on recruitment, Stuti?
Generally, we would have an entrance test for most of our for most of the fresh law graduates, and I think the hardest part they would have is the essay, where we would
Right.
typically give them a very simple, current, relevant topic, and writing, and we would purposely put it that you have only 100 words to express yourself, because we realize that people can write a lot, but they don't express anything. They don't have a concise or a precise manner where they're putting forth an argument. So by limiting the number of words, what we were trying to get them to do is think and use each word in a very crisp manner, which was really tough because it really brought down, like, we would test about what, 300, 400 applicants, and we would land up with 10, 20 that would pass
Gosh.
through. And then from those 10, 20, the oral rounds again would knock out a few, and we would be left with three, which is a terrible metric because it shows basically that law school is preparing you with law, but it doesn't prepare you with what the world requires.
Correct.
And I think IFIM really works towards that and ensures that we create industry ready lawyers. But it's not just about written. I think even oral skills are very important, because our second round used to be about how you talk, how you present. And with law, I think the critical thing is, look at the stakeholders we have. We have the client whom we have to convince. We have the judge whom we have to convince in a very different manner. We have to convince our partners or our seniors in a different manner. The way we talk to our peers is again different. The way we talk to our juniors is again different. And then I think the hardest conversations are with your adversary in the court of law, when you're addressing your adversary, to put it forward in a manner where you're
Right.
not insulting them, but at the same time getting your point across. Passion without, shouting. That kind of ability to communicate is really tough. And that is exactly what a lawyer needs, right? And that is exactly what we are looking for when it comes to an articulate advocate.
Advocate.
So I have an example video here. This is Mr. Harish Salve's video on the Kulbhushan Jadhav hearing. I love this part. So I would like to share it with all of you.
A criticism of one sovereign state or the case
We'll need
made
to
out
mute
by the
our-
other state must be in language consistent with the dignity of sovereign states and the majesty of this court and the solemnity of the proceedings in this court. Humpty Dumpty has no place in this court. This court has jurisdiction over sovereign states and conducts proceedings in which sovereign states are given directions which are binding upon them. This court therefore conducts itself with restraint and respect, which does not undermine the sovereignty of any of the states or shows disrespect towards any of them. The language which has echoed in this court, sir, in these hallowed precincts, is and so that such misadventures are not repeated. Perhaps this court may, in counsel's word, lay down some red lines of how proceedings ought to be conducted. The transcript is peppered with words such as shameless, nonsensical, laughable, breathtaking arrogance. On a quick count, shameless and nonsense occur 5 times each, arrogance 4 times, ridiculous 4 times, and disgraceful 4 times. And these are addressed to the submissions made in the memorial and the reply by the Sovereign Republic of India. India takes exception to being addressed in this fashion in an international court. Beyond saying this, I would let the matter rest, for I do not, and the Indian culture prevents me from indulging in similar language of invectives and insults. India believes we have a strong case, and so we have
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, yes.
So if you listen to the way Harish Salve dealt with, I mean, he was dealing with another country. India was being represented, Pakistan was being represented in this hearing, and the way he dealt with them with such grace and with such demeanor, where he didn't bring us down to that level where we are using such bad words. He was dealing with an adversary. He was addressing the adversary. But that sort of articulation, that sort of grace and elegance is required in the legal fraternity, and that is what we need to work towards more and more. Vinita?
Right. So I did, I'm sure you would have noticed the eloquence in his choice of words. He used some really nice phrases, the red lines and, his vocabulary was par excellence.
Humpty Dumpty report.
Right, the Humpty Dumpty analogy. So the thing is that a lawyer really needs to learn how to speak formally. So if you remember the role play that Stuti and I did in the beginning, if you had logged in early, you would have heard that. Now words like awesome, words like, the casualness that has crept into the language of the youngster today will not be acceptable, not just in court. So let's just clarify that this is the language not just in court, but even a law firm is formal. It's a formal environment that requires a formal demeanor and it requires a formal conduct of oneself. So the casualness that has crept into to your language, if I have to say so, gonna and dude and all that is okay when you're talking to your friends and to your pals, but you have to watch yourself, and in order to watch yourself, you've got to sort of drown yourself in a bucket of English. Literally immerse yourself and ensure that the formality in your language is there. Okay, so that again is something that we really work very hard on that at IFIM, because we do understand that English is the the bricks and the mortar of communication. So, we do intervene with a bit of vocabulary and language too, as part of our personality enhancement program. So, I think that was the point that we were trying to make, that language is formal, it has to be articulate, well structured, pronunciation should be great, and you should be able to really put your point across extremely well. Okay, so
So I think the important thing is keeping in mind. Sorry, there's a lot of feedback. Hello, is it better
yes,
now? I think the important thing we have to keep in mind is who are we communicating to? The audience plays a role in how we communicate. As I said, we have the various stakeholders. How you communicate to a judge versus how you communicate to an adversary. Your language needs to change accordingly. And it becomes difficult to flip the switch if you don't have the vocabulary for it. And most importantly, I think I'll give you an example. So law firms are across, you can say, a spectrum. You have 108-year-old, 180-year-old law firms where they believe in convention, where you still address even a one-year senior as a sir. Whereas when you have on the other end of the spectrum really young law firms filled with fresh law graduates or those who have just 4 or 5 years experience, where it's okay to call your partner by their first name. So you have to look at the surroundings, the circumstances, the kind of audience that you're speaking to, and ensure that you actually cater to them rather than go on a presumed fact. When in doubt, go formal.
right.
When in doubt, go formal, because it's safer to be formal and then go towards informal, because when you start with informal where it needed to be formal, you'll have egg on your face.
You'll
It's
have
very
it.
critical to move back to being formal. So it's always better to start from formality and then move to informality. So start with by saying sir. If you don't know yet the environment, today's your first day, you're nervous, you're extremely agitated, this is the time you go out and use your sirs, your please, your thank yous. Optimum. They will let you know if they're not comfortable with it. Hey, don't call me sir, I'm so and so, you can just call me by name. Or if they're okay with it, then you're safe. Phew, right? So you need to think and look at the audience that you're speaking to and accordingly change the methodology of speaking, right? And change the way you address them, change the terminology that you're using. When we talk to our clients, it becomes very critical that we demystify the law for them. So though I might say words like, injunction, trademarks, patents, I know the client in front of me might not know these terms the way I know of them. So it's
Right.
very important that I simplify the language when I speak to them. Benita ma'am at the beginning used the word judicial separation. What does that mean? How is it different from divorce? What is the consequence of it? I know it. I can't presume that the client knows it. So explaining it to the client means I have to do enough of my research and ensure that I know enough that I can actually explain it to them in a simple manner where they get it. But if I use the same simplicity in front of the partner, I'm going to get laughed out of the chambers. Like, do you think you need to tell me? Or if you even try it with a judge, sir, I think this is what this means. He will say contempt of court. You don't think I don't know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful and cater to that
Right.
accordingly, right?
Right. And I think one has very limited time to really convince or speak or to inform somebody else. We've seen it in the corporate place. Your meetings are so tightly bound. You have literally a few minutes to get your point across. So if you're not going to be articulate and fluent, uh, they'll just move on to the next point and, your window is lost. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being concise is very critical when
Yes.
it comes to speaking, be it in corporate or be it in law, because
Right.
judges are already slammed with so many cases. We
Right.
can't really expect them to give us the breadth of time to listen to us.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have. Did you want me to share the slides?
Yes. Yes. You
Yes.
could do that. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm about to share
I
with
suggest.
you. Sure. Right. So what I'm about to share with you is, the PEP, or the Personality Enhancement Program. So Stuti and I have been only talking about problems, problems in the workplace, and how things can so very easily go wrong. But the question is that it can also go right, and I believe that the PEP program will give you those answers, will guide you, will help you, and will sort of ensure that you leave IFM absolutely smartened up with this winning personality. So, as we said, the winning corporate personality. So the thing is, what is this mysterious personality, right? You must have heard those words, he has such a great personality or doesn't have such a good personality. What you say, how you say what you say, how do you behave? Your manners are being watched all the time. How do you lead? How are you a leader? Do you take people with you, or do you just leave them aside? I mean, are you a we person, or are you an I person? How do you care? How do you demonstrate through your choice of words that you care about the other person? Forming rapport, if you have a client, or the client has to feel comfortable talking to you. I mean, the client has come with a whole bag full of problems, and if you really want the client to open up, you've got to communicate that you really care about them, and the fact that you're there to help them. So that's, again, your communication skills will have to demonstrate that. How do you handle problems? So are you the type who lives in the problem, or are you able to quickly break up the problem and figure out what the solution is? Again, your communication skills there would help you articulate problems, and would also help you articulate the solution that you believe is the right answer at that point of time. And of course, how do you manage? How do you? I mean, I'm sure all of you all will be partners someday. So how do you manage people? And again, there your personality comes to light. Okay, so your personality has a whole bunch of ingredients. It's not just your communication skills is definitely a big part of it, but your mannerisms, your behavior, your etiquette, all that is part of this personality that makes you different from somebody else. Okay, so the PEP program is all about molding you into a confident personality. So when you leave IFIM after having done PEP for a couple of years, you will not be stuttering, you will not be stammering, you will not be Stuti and me during our early days where we didn't really know how to convince the other person. You will be confident, you will be proactive, you will be a person who will be able to bring the future into the present, and you will be absolutely ready for the corporate world. So it is the outward projection, it's what the world sees of us that we are going to shape, pretty much. But we are also going to look at the inside. So we really believe that an attitude, I'm sure you've heard of this word called attitude, it's nothing else but your behavior and your mannerisms that you portray to the outside world. That again is as important as your communication skills. Are you the type who can collaborate, who can work with other people? Are you a team player? So a collaborative mindset. We do a lot of activities in groups and teams, and your teamwork and your team player abilities are very closely monitored. We also have a wellness program. The needs, the industry has expressed to us over and over again that we want students who are well, who are fit, who are not going to fall sick and cost us money. We want them to take onus and to take responsibility of their fitness. Therefore, we have a fitness program which our students are a part of. Actually a subject where you're graded. It's a lot of fun, a lot of exercise 3 times a week. We have a gym, we have yoga, we have Zumba, we have a variety of things that you can do because we want you to be fit, and we believe that a fit mind, a fit body leads to a fit mind. So you will be aware of wellness, and you will be aware of how to remain and stay healthy through the PEP program. Next slide.
So we have a couple of questions,
Okay,
Vinita.
right.
So Akhila has sent a question. Ma'am, does this mean that we need to have all these qualities if we need to get into a good law college? Is it possible to learn all of these skills after getting into a good college like IFIM?
Sure, absolutely.
So for the
However,
first part,
yeah. Sorry, Stuti,
sorry.
you answer.
So for the first part, I would say that no, We don't expect you to have these qualities when you're joining a law college, because the idea is when you get into the law college, we will teach you and help you develop these skills, right? And that is what IFIM always aims for. We understand that it would be impossible for everybody to have access to or understand, what sort of, skills they need. That is why we have tailor-made these, programs to achieve
Right.
these objectives, right? Binita ma'am, you were saying, sorry.
Right. So just to answer, Akhila, the personality enhancement program is as important as all your other law subjects. You'll be doing this weekly. It's timetabled. So it's something that you will do along with your, law of contracts and, all the other law subjects. And what you'd also need to understand, Akhila, is that with practice comes perfection. So this is a practice course, and you will be doing n number of presentations, n number of mock meetings, writing multiple essays, and we will be correcting and we will be giving you feedback. And that's how the skill will be practiced. So yes, Akhila, we will nurture you, and we are not expecting you to come ready with all of this. Then you don't need the program, right? Yeah. Okay. So the
Okay, and
next.
Mallika, we will not be answering that question here. This is neither the place nor the would you say, platform to ask this question. So we can answer this question later for you. Yes, thank you, Mallika. So moving back to the
Then
slides,
yeah,
over to you, Benita
yes.
ma'am. Again.
Yeah. Could we move to the, yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, that we have two arms of the personality enhancement program. We have the life skills program, which covers all your soft skills, communication skills, leadership skills, interpersonal skills. We also try and plug in some language, vocabulary, a couple of, so I won't say grammar, but what are the common mistakes that we make? It's just a simple example. I mean, the has and the have and the had is always, is always misunderstood. And I really think that at the schooling level, probably those issues are not really addressed, and you cannot have a lawyer not knowing the difference between has, have, and had. So we will cover all of that in life skills. And the lifestyle program is all about keeping you fit, keeping you healthy, keeping you well. It's a fun program. Lots of competitions, lots of sports fests, lots of inter-house, related activities. So it's fun. It's fun.
Ma'am, Bhargavi had a quick question. Which one is good, being a legal advisor or a judge? Shall I just answer that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So Bhargavi, the thing is, it depends on what you want to be, right? You have to figure out whether you want to be a lawyer or you want to be a judge. It depends on what you think you're good at or what your ambition and dream is. So they both require a law degree, first off. Second thing, as a judge, what you'll need to do is give a magistrate's exam later, right? That's a different ballgame. We have a career options program happening on June 11th. If you join us there, at that point of time, you can absolutely ask this question, Bhargavi, right? Kajal Chand has a question, ma'am. Do you
Right.
provide online personality development program?
If only it was that easy, Kajal, right? If only we could plug in by you looking at a couple of slides and reading a couple of stuff, and you'll be the articulate advocate. Well, unfortunately, not. It's all about you doing it and we correcting you. So, Kajal, the entire program is a contact program. Yes, we do have supplementary material that we will give you to work on your own online, but everything is about you working with us. You'll be there, you'll be presenting in front of us. We'll be telling you, Kajal, this is how it could have been done better. This is what you really did well, and you will redo it. And you will redo it till you get it right. Okay, and of course, the same thing with writing. So, practice with inputs from us, and only then can change happen. So, Kajal, it is a contact program. Okay, the next. Okay, so what do we believe is great about life skills, okay, and lifestyle? So communication skills as a subject is taught in a few colleges. I'm not saying that it's there everywhere. I don't think it features in other law schools. I believe that we're probably the only law school to address these skills. Now, the life skills, so we use a lot of global frameworks. So you may have heard of the Toastmasters Club. You may have heard of, I'm sure you've heard of Steve Jobs. I'm sure you've heard of these master presenters. Now, all of them are, they were not born overnight into speaking fancy. They've used tools, they've used techniques. You must have heard of Cambridge, Oxford. We use a lot of their material. So our frameworks are global in nature, tried and tested techniques are given to you. And of course, you're then taught how to use these frameworks. Everything is action based. So, I can turn around and say, guys, you've got a 7 on 10 or you've got a 5 on 10 in your presentation skills. How's that going to help you? You'll say, why didn't I get an 8 or why was I not a 3? So along with the quantitative assessment, we tell you that, listen, your fluency is up to the mark, but your language is not, or that you're very clear and very structured, but your pronunciation is not up to the mark. So we give you action-based assessment tips, and only then will change happen. We have lots and lots of various formats through which practice happens: presentations, role plays. We'll just give you a topic, and you may not even be given time to think. You'll probably get 2 minutes to prepare, and you'll have to speak. You'll get presentations is where you get the time. You work with a group and you prepare slides and you present. So prepared speech, unprepared speech, a lot of writing, a lot of essays, a lot of emails is what we work on. And a lot of what we do is with small groups. So, the classroom may be 50, 60, but we break you up into small groups, and you do your presentation with us in a group, and we then give you individualized feedback. So a lot of work actually happens outside the classroom. In classroom, we do the teaching and we do a couple of presentations, and we also follow it up with a lot of work outside the classroom. And in fact, if you feel that you need a little bit more practice than the rest, we have tutorials that would get you there. A logbook. So logbook is an innovative tool that we use. It's a book where you actually log in the number of times that you've spoken and written, not just with us, but also in your other subjects. So we believe that just doing it with us is not enough. You'll have to do it over and over again everywhere. So if you've learned presentation skills with us, you'll have to apply it even when you're making a presentation to Stuti ma'am on law. Okay, so the logbook is a record of your effort. The lifestyle program, as I mentioned, has a battery of fitness interventions. You have, like I said, you have the gym. We have a really great gym. We have a huge field where you get a chance to play a whole bunch of games. We have teams. There's inter-house competitions. Other than that, your fitness is also checked and monitored. We have a push-up, a fitness test, which of course we train you for, and we then assess as to what your level of fitness is. So it's a program that's as closely monitored as lifestyle, because we really want you to be well and fit. The next slide, Suti.
Yes.
Okay, so like I mentioned, other places also do teach communication skills. However, we do it differently. Probably the traditional way is you choose a topic, you prepare the content on your own, and you would then meet me and present. But at IFM, we don't do it like that. We break it up into stages, and at every stage you meet us. We give you global frameworks. We tell you that, listen, unless you're clear about what is it that you want to communicate through your presentation, your objective has to be clear. Stuti did mention earlier that we need to modify our communication based on the audience. Audiences have different needs. Whether it's a judge, whether it's your partner, whether it's your colleague, your communication style will differ. So what are the needs of the audience, and how do you tailor make your presentation to suit that? We help you structure it around 3 solid points. We help you with a script where you learn not just to communicate, but you learn to engage. Everybody wants a little bit of entertainment when they hear another person. You have to be interesting. So it's not just enough to be articulate. but you've also got to be interesting and engaging, which is what we give you a whole lot of engagement tools. So we have studied this process and we've done it over so many years. We give you customized feedback, and if we feel that you're not up to the mark, you will have to redo it. You will have to redo it till we are happy and till you are happy, most importantly. So this is how we work at, we break it up into stages, and you will work with us at every step. Okay, right. So I see a whole lot of questions coming in, and we will certainly answer them. Widely accepted global frameworks, multiple formats, language inputs. You may have heard a common phrase, I'm going to my native. Now you may say, what's wrong with that? Because everybody around me is saying that, but that's wrong. I am going to my hometown. You're a native of your native place. So when you use words like that, it is not globally accepted. So we will give you inputs on vocabulary and help you standardize your vocabulary so that not just India, but I would say the rest of the globe will also understand the way you communicate. We help you use a lot of tools and techniques. We strongly believe in planning communication. If you have to write an essay, you will not just start writing the essay, you will make a planner, you will show us the planner, and you will then only start writing. And you will proofread, you will edit, you will correct, you will polish, and you will only then submit. So there are processes for everything that we do, and I believe that's been our area of strength. Okay, shall we answer the question? Yeah.
Yes,
Sakshi, I have a question with respect to attitude. Often as a fresher in the litigation field, I come across as overconfident to my colleagues. How do I balance this out, as I do not want to be perceived like that? So Sakshi, if you remember, earlier on in our conversation, we did say that, in fact, in the slides itself, I said that, you need to communicate that you care. You will have to communicate to your team, to your colleagues, that you're there for them, that you care for them, you care for their well-being, and listen to them. Overconfidence, a lot of time overconfidence comes when you believe it's my way or the highway, when you believe that the other person really doesn't have much value to bring to the conversation. So don't speak, just listen, reiterate what you've heard from them, make them feel that you've heard them out. You may or may not agree at the end of it all, that's a different part of it, but listen to them, paraphrase, tell them that this is what I believe, this is what you meant to say. They will feel good, they'll feel that Sakshi is there, she's listening to us. So listening and demonstrating listening through your words, finally it's all about active listening and not just passive listening, will help you build those relationships with your colleagues. And just ensuring that it's interactive will will not make them feel that you're unreachable and that you're overconfident. I hope I've answered your question, Sakshi. Okay. Shall we move on to the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah. So the lifestyle, I look at this guy sort of, really pumping out with his iron. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to get strong. You're going to get fit. We have the gym, functional training. We have football. In fact, our team's doing really well at football. We keep winning a whole bunch of tournaments at the intercollegiate level. We have yoga just to calm you and to make you feel at peace with yourself and your surroundings. And of course, the fun Bollywood, Hollywood, Zumba, and aerobics. So there's a wide platter of wellness options you can use. You can try them all. You can stick to one. That's up to you. But you would need to do it regularly. You will be assessed on it. And again, we need you to be fit and well. And we need you to also look good, look fit. And that's what the wellness program is all about.
Vinita ma'am, I just wanted to interject one thing.
Yes,
Legal
sure.
field and the medical field actually are so high in stress that they have been declared the unhealthiest fields for any fields with the most number of unhealthiest professionals. And I think right from the get-go, we are making sure that our students look at their
Yes.
health and understand,
Yes.
what and how important it is, because
Absolutely.
lawyer's life can be a bit sedentary this definitely sets them up to be less sedentary and more active.
In fact, we find that the ones who are doing well in wellness are the ones who are doing well overall.
True.
So these are just like I was mentioning to you all that there's a wide variety of topics that you would be working with us on, whether it's common errors in grammar and vocabulary. Like I said, I'm going to my native, or he sent this to me 2 days back when it should be 2 days ago. Your writing skills, how do you write an essay in law? There's a lot of essays, there's a lot of reports that you would need to write where you would really need to articulate concisely and well, and that's what we would look at. Reading, I'm sure you do know that law involves extensive reading and comprehending. And that's, again, something that your generation hasn't grown up with books. So we do a lot of reading comprehension, and how do you read and how do you infer from text? How do you improve your listening so that the judge at least feels that you've heard him, or that the client or the customer feels that you've been a good listener? Speaking, presentation skills, read a book and tell us about what you liked about the book. Rapport builders, how do you connect, how do you build relationships in a meeting, how do you build that, how do you make small talk? Can't just start off a meeting saying, I'm here today to discuss, right? So how do you do that? How do you write summaries, group discussions, interactive speaking, debating? Debating is something that law students really, really enjoy, and that's something that we work on. How do you take notes? How do you talk on the telephone? It sounds stupid, but people sometimes really mess up when they're on the phone. So there's a certain etiquette, there's a certain way of doing it, which is what we will. And your world is a virtual world. So for all you know, your customer may be in some other location. So you would have to have multiple calls with them. Business meetings, how do you conduct yourself in a meeting? How do you interact in a meeting? And of course, personal interview, right? Because we would like you to get that great job. We will train you on placements, on how do you take interviews, how are you on top of your behavior? How do you keep that anger in control? How do you manage stress? How do you work in a team? A lot of times we, at the workplace, we have to work in teams. How do you get along with others? How do you set goals? And how, of course, are you proactive is something that we at life skills. Next. Yeah. So I think that's it as far as the PEP program is concerned. And just take a second more to say that our assessments are very detailed, and there's quantitative and there's qualitative feedback. We don't just leave you with a 7 on 10, but we will tell you what the 7 on 10 constitutes. So you have actionable feedback and small groups, which is what makes action possible. So, Stuti, over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Benita ma'am. I think what we need to realize is that a personality enhancement program, though it is in place, there is a lot that we can do offline or away from the program itself also to enhance our program. As you already mentioned, reading is critical. But I think watching, appropriate videos. I know the video games call when you switch on the phone and you want to play your PUBG, but it's good to check out some really good talks, especially if you have the fear of public speaking. There are a bunch of TEDx talks that you could look at which focus on that. My favorite is Fake It Till You Make It. It's an amazing video. It tells you how to be, very confident, especially when you're feeling very insecure. So these kinds of, constantly focusing inwards and trying to work inwards out is very critical. Because when you land up in the rat race, that edge is necessary. Most importantly, keeping that edge under stress is extremely important. Because in a given day, a lawyer works 12 to 14 hours, and that's like far less. Right? There was this. I'm not cracking that joke right now, but generally, when you go to God, they say that you've led 2 lifetimes as a lawyer because of the number of hours we put in. So you need to realize that it's a high stress job, and getting all the tools that you require to deal with this high stress job is very critical. And that is what the personality enhancement program also does with its wellness aspect and its personality enhancement aspect. Benita ma'am?
Right. So, we won't, like Stuti ma'am said, that there are lots of resources. You're lucky. You're in a world where There's so much of self-help available. Unfortunately, we didn't have that, but you have that. So I am a strong advocate of the TEDx, TED Talks, and the people whom you would never have heard of. They're not like a Shashi Tharoor or a Amitabh Bachchan. You wouldn't have heard of any of them, but look at the way they captured your attention. So if you, like I mentioned to you, if you want to be an engaging speaker, not just articulate, articulate is clear, fluent, structured speaking. Other than that, if you want to be interesting and engaging, just listen to any of the TED Talks, enable the transcripts so that you can also read later on, the play of words. Words tell everything. Words, as they say, words speak a lot. There's a lot of meaning behind a word. So look at that. And I would also say that as a lawyer, articulate is base level, but other than that, being persuasive. So you have to learn that what are the ingredients of being persuasive. And there again, we will help you in the PEP program. And you may have heard of a philosopher called Aristotle. So Aristotle in the early days figured out that persuasion is so important. It is not just good enough to inform, but everything is about convincing other people. So the use of emotion in your speech. You've got to make the other person feel. And I believe decisions are a lot of times made on the way you feel more than the way you think. So conveying, having some kind of an emotional hook in your speech is extremely important. And I think the TEDx people have mastered that. So do watch, any of the TED speakers. I would say just about anybody. And not that they're all native speakers of English. They're not all Americans, right? They come from Asian countries and a whole bunch. So I think that's about all the gyan that we are going to give you for today. Any questions? Anything that?
So very quickly, I think we'll just, because we just have 2 minutes and we haven't received any questions. One thing that Benita ma'am mentioned that I wanted to reiterate, most law colleges pretty much towards the end of your 5 years will spend the time to get you placement ready. And at that time, they'll take you through a mock interview or they will do a GD or something like that, which is not enough. It's a band-aid on a much larger wound, right? At IFM Law School, because we believe in creating industry-ready lawyers, we believe the day you walk into our portals, we should be working with you in improving your personality. Now, you already might have a great personality. We'll make it awesome. To borrow a word from
To
the
use
current
your language, yeah.
and most importantly, what it's a sustained improvement is what we focus on. And the advocates of today are changing. There's a change that is occurring where being an articulate advocate. So Anubhav has a question. What shall be done to improve your argument skill?
Okay.
So ma'am, you want to do it?
Right.
Or
So Anubhav, it's argument is based on logic. It's based on facts, and it's based on ensuring that you know the topic very, very well. Okay, and it's also about anticipating objections from the other end. So you would need to be a master in your topic. You would then need to know. You would need to be able to speak in a very, very structured, logical manner. Put the facts on the table, give an opinion, because it's all about saying why something is right and why something else is wrong. It's also about listening to the other person and counteracting them and probably preempting the objection to begin with. So that's what I feel would work.
And I would just add one thing. There is this concept. There was a book called "I'm Okay, You're Okay." If you ever lay your hands on it, you
Yeah.
please use it. But they basically classify personalities into adult, child, and parent.
Yes.
So when you're placing an argument, make sure you use always the adult tone. Don't be childish where you're saying, "No, I want it this way," or as a parent, be authoritative. But be an equal while you're placing the
Right.
argument. That makes it easier for the argument to be absorbed. As advocates, typically we stick to the especially when we are arguing the case, we stick to the adult tone. But when it comes to clients, sometimes we switch to parents tone to
So,
make them feel more
yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's all about being likable also at the end of it all.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Shetty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shetty. Any other questions? I hope you enjoyed it, all of you all.
I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope to hear more from you again. Please, if you wish to offline any questions to us, please feel free. Our email addresses will be available to you, on the IFIM website. And thank you, Akila.
Thank you, Akila. Yeah. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you and answering all your questions. Thanks, Soumya.
Okay.
Anything
Thank you,
else?
everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.